to responsibility, I show you how I was able to overcome anger. The spirit of anger was taken away from me. I had it. And as a result of having anger, I was insecure. I had doubt, worry, fear. I was in a fallen state and didn't know it. And it wasn't until I went and forgave my mother who tried to turn me away from my father. I forgave my father for not being there and returned back to him. My spirit connected with his spirit, and through him, I was able to return to God. And I have perfect peace. Perfect love casts out anger. And when anger is gone, fear and doubt, worry, insecurity, suicidal thoughts, all of that is gone, and you are free. Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, or if you want an autographed copy, you can go to my website at rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-BOND. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. How you doing, folks? Appreciate you tuning in to my show. Jumping in here from Joel's show there. Appreciate that. 888-775-3773 if you want to call in. There were people holding and all that. But it's American Anchor Baby now, so if you want to maybe let myself get into it a little bit, if you want to call, we'll figure it out as we go. How about it? We like this Anchor Baby, right? How you doing, folks? Thank you. I appreciate that. And I am wearing the Zelensky. It's a little appropriate with some of the things I want to talk about. A little bit of war. It's been kind of war lately, huh? Maybe like a week and a half now. But there's been other things too. So don't fret, because we got plenty of stuff to get into. We're getting into corn. And I mean actual corn, like you know, maize. Like the sweet yellow fruit, or is it a vegetable? I think it's more like a fruit, no? Like a tomato. Corn, you know it. You've had it, and you like it. Maize. Look, we're going to talk about many things if the time allows it. So appreciate you tuning in. 888-775-3773. You know, I mentioned the eclipse. You know, I'm sure you know about the eclipse. Duh. You heard about it. Maybe you even saw it. Maybe you went outside. You went to see it. Was that yesterday? That was just yesterday. So maybe you saw it, okay? Maybe you saw it and you enjoyed it, and it was great. You saw science, the universe unfold, and you were happy. It's a vegetable, homie. It's a grain. It's not a vegetable, it's a fruit. People are fighting about that in my chat, but listen. You saw the eclipse, maybe. Maybe you saw pictures, I don't know. Maybe you saw video or a video of something. And they said it was an eclipse. Look, so did these people. Okay, I was served this photo by Ian Miles Chong here on Twitter. And I don't know about y'all, but my heart grew 3 sizes or something like that. As you can see here before you, you see 3 individuals with what looks like eclipse safe glasses, this eclipse safe eyewear that allows you to look at this eclipse. You either need one of these, or you need USA in your veins as opposed to DNA, like Donald Trump, which I don't. Again, this is not advised because most people don't have USA in their veins to look at the eclipse without any protection. But that being said, what you're seeing is Border Patrol. This is actually Border Patrol, besides a couple of new Americans. Brand new, fresh Americans. Thanks, little Nick. Brand new, fresh Americans is what you saw in there, enjoying the sight of the eclipse. It warms the heart. It gladdens the soul. I know. Even Ian Miles Chong here was not too happy. He wrote, illegal immigrants and a member of Border Patrol watch the eclipse. You couldn't make this up. This is how we treat them? Is not what Ian Miles Chong wrote, but I'm getting that vibe, that impression that you're not they shouldn't be treating them like this. They give them glasses, you look at the eclipse. Meanwhile, Philadelphia is full of Americans who never seen an eclipse. We need... you see how easy it is to lose the plot when you feel bad for people? You lose the plot and you're like, there are Americans who haven't seen the eclipse. Come on, guys. Come on, Muslims around the world. Don't you see? Isn't this proof that America is not the great Satan? Even in great times of turmoil, the government is against the people themselves. They're letting them pour in through the border in an unprecedented, suicidal, self-destructive manner that some say the world has never seen a culture and society to end itself almost in this way. Is incredible, right? But even in the midst of all that, you can't deny the basic human rights of looking up to the sky and the eclipse. I don't know about y'all, but this is a beautiful picture. Putting aside politics, putting aside everything, to look at God's beautiful creation called space and celestial bodies. Okay, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. That's most likely what it is. But I don't know. I've never been up there, and I cannot confirm. I don't really know. So, yeah, beautiful picture. Not the great Satan, not an evil empire. They say America is out there doing evil things. Now, when I think about myself, I don't think of myself like a patriot. And you might think, what the heck am I watching? I thought I was watching American Anchor Baby. The American Anchor Baby with the heart of an American, even though his parents abused the immigration laws fair and square to become a citizen and become an American Anchor Baby. Still maintaining the heart of an American, at least doing my best to show some appreciation. But I think about that sometimes and the feeling of patriotism. And I notice, patriots can't separate. For example, patriots can't separate government and the people. Be like, America. No, America's not evil. America's God. America, it's a Christian nation. Can't be evil. No, I won't believe it. Close my ears. Close my eyes and block my ears. Patriots just can't see clearly is all I'm trying to say, okay? Those have the feeling, those feelings of patriotism. Why is this important? Why am I bringing this up? Because there are some criticisms to be had. I'm talking about America. I'm talking about the wars. And you know I've mentioned them, okay? Big, bad America. What I'm trying to say here is, what I'm trying to get into here is that there's something I see constantly. I'm seeing it in the news. I'm seeing politicians and different people. They go in front of a camera and they have these lofty titles and positions. They're governor, they're representative, this and that. And they seemingly are totally okay with rubber stamping global war with a smile on their face, okay? What I'm trying to describe is I guess I'm just waiting to see someone in this public space talking about these things that are pretty significant, that implicate the American public. We're talking about war. You know, I'm waiting to see someone speak about it in a real way. Maybe I can get into this and you'll understand what I mean here. America. There's this, we have impressions of it. I have my own, learning the history. And depending where you come from, how you grew up, you have your story. It's the greatest, it's the worst. Okay, but anyways, I guess maybe I can, crack down on what I'm saying here with this story here. The U.S. versus Russian energy. So you know that there's this conflict. Now, I don't remember hearing that U.S. and Russia are at war. I know they say proxy war, and it's pretty much known that they're supporting Ukraine, and they want to give Ukraine everything. We'll fight to the last Ukrainian. You hear people like Lindsey Graham, so-called Republicans, talk so glibly about war. They're the bad guys, they got to pay. I keep hearing him going on camera saying, we got to make Putin pay, he says. So allow me to describe this a bit. Let's zero in on this situation with Russian energy, and hopefully you can understand where I'm coming from. Because I'm hearing about this plan to halt development of Russian energy. Pretty significant. Energy. You need it. It's how you develop an economy, develop a country, lifeblood kind of stuff, basics. So there's a LNG project in the Arctic, okay? LNG, liquefied natural gas, I believe. One of these precursors to a lot of petroleum products. I could be wrong about the specifics here, if it's petroleum or whatever, but this is significant in energy production, okay? LNG. And there's this project on developing LNG with the Russians that America is openly talking about. We're going to ixnay that. �𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎, State Department official, saying this at a Financial Times summit on Monday. He stated the U.S. is specifically targeting the Arctic LNG 2 project in Russia's northern Yamal region, which is being developed by energy giant Novatek. Our goal is to ensure that Arctic LNG is dead in the water. Payet, who serves as Assistant Secretary of State for Energy Resources, was quoted as saying by the British newspaper, "We're very focused on ensuring that Russia is not able to develop new projects in order to redirect the gas that it had previously sent into Europe." Well, Nick, they're at war. Well, it makes sense. Okay. Allow me to describe this voice in my head and maybe people in my chat. And I see your calls coming in, 888-775-3773. And I will get to you. So where was I? The U.S. is saying, we're going to stop you from producing energy. This is a continuation of, obviously, this conflict that broke out with Russia and Ukraine. But if you remember, energy is a central point in the State Department's war on Russia. Maybe I shouldn't even call it that. I don't hear anybody else calling it that. And so like I said, energy is a significant part. You remember Nord Stream 2, there was a significant pipeline over there that got blown up. And that was after Biden said, I warn you, Putin, we're going to shut that Nord Stream 2 down. And then suddenly it was blown up and Biden's like, hey, we had nothing to do with that. I'm not making any claims. It could very well be we didn't. Some evidence points to, I'm not up on this Nord Stream 2 story, so don't go by me on that. We just know that energy is a big deal. And there's been military actions against the production of Russian cheap gas. I guess I have to mention as well, just for the sake of informing, that this caused problems for Europe. There was cheap energy. Germany comes to mind, and other parts of Europe had been enjoying cheap energy, which helps them, from Russia. So that's cut off, causing supply issues. Now, why is this significant to me, though? Why am I bringing this up? Because, like I keep saying, I don't remember hearing that we're exactly at war. And I'm reading this George Pyatt, and he's saying how important it is to just completely cut off their energy production. It sounds like an act of war, first of all. I just didn't know we were at war just like that quite yet. And you see, if Russia weren't the big bad guys that were at war right now, this would be a scandal. Hopefully you're following me here, but let me try to explain my thinking. The way America is fighting against energy here is through sanctions. You've heard this word before. And you basically go around and you work with your global partners and you say, we're banning this, we're banning this product, we're banning this country, we're banning these people for XYZ reasons, usually because they're genocidal or they are showing usually different reasons like that. Hopefully you're following me. That's their method of war here without guns, right? Sanctions. And if you couldn't say, well, look at Russia, they're the big bad guys, sanctioning is such an aggressive action. I hope you understand my thinking here, and you can call me in and correct me if I'm wrong about something, 888-775-3773. But I wonder, if it wasn't for war, on what grounds do you go around sanctioning and fighting like this? Well, what's another reason? Let's ignore war. Economics. Economic competition. I guess what I'm trying to say is that who's in charge? As a layman watching this happen, I wonder who's in charge. I didn't know that we wanted to deplete Russia the way they're talking about, and deplete them and so that they'll never be able to fight again, like Lindsey Graham said recently. I just didn't know. And the reason is, obviously, I hear the reasoning from America, and it's like, well, look at Russia. They're trying to undo, the peace of World War II. It's Hitler coming back. Look at him. He just wants to take over stuff. And so I hear both sides, and I hear America, the government, telling me that. And I find it's just a little hard to know what to think. So I have to resort to kind of basic things here. Anyways, maybe you're not following me so far. It's just I read about, for example, Putin and these ultimatums that he put out as NATO and American allies were placing military installations and missiles closer and closer to Moscow. This question of security was brought up, obviously. It's been a question of security since the Cold War, I guess, if you wanted to go back there. But we're going back to 2021, and Putin was like, that's my final ultimatum. After a number of lines in the sand before that, hey, don't put NATO there. Don't do this. Okay, you know what? Ukraine's the last straw, the 2021 ultimatum. And I'm reading about this, and I'm reading about how NATO heard Russia's his ultimatum, and I'm reading about it, and their reception to it was skepticism and rejection by the U.S. and NATO's organizations, who viewed them as unrealistic and unacceptable, incompatible with the principles of Euro-Atlantic security. And I appreciate my call's patience. Hold on. Okay, so I'm like, okay. I'm being told all these things. You see, they're the bad guys. And don't you understand? Putin and Russia, they're just so evil. And then I look up, okay, well, what are these Euro-Atlantic values they're trying to keep? This notion that don't put missiles this close to Russia that's too far. This guy's telling us we can't put missiles this close to his country. Well, that goes against our Euro-Atlantic values. So what are they? Of course, was my next question. You know what? They actually lay them out really nicely. So thank you, Euro-Atlantic Security Leadership Group, for laying out the values of Euro-Atlantic security. Number one, look at this. Number one, restore communication and dialogue to manage instability and build mutual security. Let's talk it out. Identify and advance areas of existential common interests. Recognize non-Euro-Atlantic perspectives on security, except Russia and except anybody else that, So number 3 is hazy. Adopt a multi-basket approach to security. I don't know what that means. Manage and control emerging threats. So obviously, some pretty basic things. It makes, as a layman, it seems like some of this makes sense. I just find number 3 funny, right? Recognize non-Euro-Atlantic perspectives. I guess not recognizing non-Euro-Atlantic perspectives on security would that be fair to say is a precipitating factor to this war? You read this from this group. They write, the heart of the problem is a complete lack of trust among nations stemming from the war. Wait, hold up. Back it up. So the complete lack of trust stemming from the war. You mean this war that just happened? I feel maybe you're not following me at all, but I'm showing you all this, I guess. No, not I guess, but I'm showing you all this to demonstrate how I see this, which is like I'm seeing these two sides. And when I go to America and I say, okay, well then why are you fighting? Russia says NATO and the NATO and the US, they're trying to compete unfairly. This is coming from Russia Today. This is what they say. Oh, that the West, they're just trying to knock us out in the global economy so that they don't have to compete with us. Meanwhile, the U.S. says they're just Hitler. They're just Hitler trying to undo World War II. But when explaining all this, when you try to sit down and I guess go through it, you get people like Lindsey Graham just say, well, they have to pay. They're just evil. They have to pay. Them's the rules. Don't you know World War II happened? Meanwhile, Putin is on Tucker Carlson's show explaining everything from the top. Maybe you fell asleep, but at least you could now question and talk about it, I guess. Personally, if you ask me, years from now when way more stuff comes out, I bet we're going to find out, if we can't already see that, how these big nations, they've probably been doing all sorts of clandestine stuff to each other. So I'm not saying Russia is this saint. They're a Christian nation, I hear. They may be more Christian in some ways. But you know what I mean? I'm talking about the governments and the war of egos. I guess this following statement really is my opinion, and I don't know if I can really prove it, if I've really proven it so far, but it seems like economic competition. I'm not really convinced of this moral position of America. If really there's any point I'm trying to say, I guess it's that. I'm just not convinced of this moral position. Are you following me so far? Kind of what I was thinking about, seeing this from the State Department, basically just smiling at a camera saying, yes, we will go to global war. What? Yes, we will try everything we can to halt their energy production. And if you believe anything about history and stuff, and I'm trying to be careful here because I'm trying to express just how ignorant I am on some of these things, so please understand that. But at the same time, I see these, it really does seem like egos at play. Like it's not that, maybe I don't know what I'm saying. I think the egos of individuals is enough to start global wars. It's enough to you think that when these big countries are fighting, it's like it means so much. It's for a big good reason. Anyways, maybe I'm rambling at this point, but why is this on my mind? Because I came across this Washington Post article, and it's about Trump, and it looks like speculation. It's the sources are allegedly unnamed individuals close to Donald Trump This is from the Washington Post, though. A little bit of rumors going around about what Trump may think or what his plans are for peace with these wars. You know, he said it before. He said, hey, maybe he didn't say, hey, but he said something like that in 24 hours he could strike a peace between Ukraine and Russia. Nick, I'm not the least bit invested in this propaganda, but I see what you're saying, though. I'm happy with that statement, Matthew. Thank you. At least you understand me. Don't worry, we'll move a little quicker here because I want to tell you about the rumor on Trump's secret plan, allegedly, according to people, maybe unnamed people close to him, according to the Washington Post, inside Donald Trump's secret long-shot plan to end the war in Ukraine. Let me read this a little bit. Former President Donald Trump has privately said he could end Russia's war in Ukraine by pressuring Ukraine to give up some territory. Gasp. You mean give up territory? According to people familiar with the plan, some foreign policy experts said Trump's idea would reward Russian President Vladimir Putin and condone the violation of internationally recognized borders by force. So you see in that first few sentences, Washington Post, everything what I said, if you were following, I know I said it in a clunky way maybe, is all there. Here are the two sides. It's the internationally recognized borders by force or the people against that. And either you're on our side or you're against us. Either you're with us or you're Hitler. Meanwhile, if this is a rumor at all if this rumor is to be at all believed, is quite an interesting plan if you really think about it. And confirms some of in my opinion, this is my opinion, some suspicions and thoughts I've had about how Trump wants to handle things and what's the right thing to do. Now you might think, oh, he's just conceding to the Russians. You would, Nick. You love the Russians, someone called me and said I don't know. But don't you understand? Loving your enemies requires you to be right no matter what. And that doesn't mean weak. Right is strong. Right does right by all people. And that's why I trust Trump to do right. And let's say if he's doing right and people want to take advantage of said respect, I don't know, being right, I also trust him because he has the right attitude to also defend and fight back in the right way. So what's Trump's proposal? I already kind of mentioned it, allegedly to give back some land. Here's why this is so significant. In my opinion, it really speaks to a mature understanding of things. I need you to see this map. Map of Ukraine's regions, annexations and losses in Ukraine. Now, what's your impression? And let's say you haven't watched Anchor Baby, you haven't watched any war stuff, and you hear from CNN, what do you think CNN is saying about, well, we're going to beat him? You hear Lindsey Graham, you hear all these rhinos. We're going to beat him, we're not stopping. Ukraine will not lose. Biden's plan, you hear about the plan to deplete Lloyd Austin, some high-up person in the military talking about depleting Russia, their plan to deplete Russia. Whoa, it's like way deeper than the Donbass in Ukraine. These people want to end a Russian threat. You're following so far. Why this is significant? To give up land. Look, like I said, I need you to see these maps. Look at these maps. They're saying, we're winning. This is from the Washington Post, okay? Now let's circumvent their paywall. I'm joking. I didn't do that. Washington Post. This is the border before Russia. Oh, darn. Let me just refresh that. How about we do a little bit of that? This is Ukraine before Russia's invasion. You seeing this? Now you know these two highlighted red areas as right down here as Crimea, and this area is the Donbass. The areas in dispute that were soon to be in dispute right before the Russian invasion. Area held by Russian-backed separatists since 2014. You know, this goes back before this invasion in the last couple of years, right? This is an ongoing thing since 2014. Now, we don't need to rehash all that. I don't even know myself, but I know that there's some strange going-ons with America and Ukraine even back then. So that's a map before. So this is after Putin's illegal annexation, according to Washington Post. Now you see all this red has increased. I know you see this big advertisement block, and I don't know what the heck that is. Go away. Okay, you see now there's more red. That's just more area that Russia took. Kherson. You remember that one? Kherson. And Mariupol. You scroll down further, and the map gets worse. The current state of the war. Remember, they were trying to tell us it wasn't this bad. But look at how bad or how well Russia's winning here. It's not looking good. The current state of the war. Look at all that red. That's all Russia. Now, let's say you're a Lindsey Graham. You're like, Russia is upsetting the rules-based natural order after World War II, blah, 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 blah. And you just can't do that. That's illegal, don't you know? Let's say you even believed all that. Wouldn't you look at those maps and say, you know what? Let's go back to the drawing board and come back and fight another day. Look at all these Ukrainians dying. But whatever, I'm not a general. Let's maybe not comment on that. I just find it, here's what I find interesting. Trump's willingness to work with people. And yet I know, is my opinion, I know he's strong, so I know he would defend us, so I'm not worried about that. What I was saying earlier about loving your enemies. Like Trump's talking about Israel. I would have done the same thing. When you guys got attacked the October 7th, you had to attack back. I would have done the exact same thing. I'm trying to show you how he understands and how it's not about the sides. It's not about these tribes, although he is America first. That's undeniable in my opinion. At the same time, he shows this maturity. Do you understand what I'm saying here? I would have done the same thing, he says about Israel. Now, do you think that Trump would have done the same thing if he was Putin? I'm just trying to, I guess, get you to think about something a little bit here. Anyways, you get it, right? You get it. Do I need to say anything else? Imagine missiles on our doorstep. Boom. I hope Nick specifically chose this shirt for this episode. It just happened. It just happened. Okay, so you get me a little bit, hopefully. I'm trying to describe these notions in our mind. These stories, I guess, that don't really let us see things clearly. Taking sides, and the maturity of not taking sides. And why I think Trump's the great choice for this, for actual peace. You might think, wow, he wants, if this rumor is true, he wants to just give in to Putin and give him land. But I think if you kind of like look at the story, even in just the past 10 years, I don't know if you can just see it as a good guy, bad guy scenario. It's more like, you know what? There is a conversation we can have and we could make a deal. Anyways, I just trust him to make a deal. 888-775-3773. They say America is the great Satan. Meddling around, putting their missiles anywhere they want, even if they get mad and they say we're going to nuclear strike. And too bad, so sad. It's Euro-Atlantic security. They say they're sanctioning and all this for merely economically competitive reasons. They're saying this is going on with corn as well, and I'm actually talking about corn. And Mexico. You might find this a little bit interesting, but I do have a caller. I got Jacob HUSDON out of Mississippi. Sir, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
All is well, Jacob. Right on.
Actually, it's Jake, but sometimes I use Jacob.
Oh, okay. Did you call in with a Jacob? Because they wrote you down as Jacob.
Yeah, I use that sometimes when I'm like, sometimes I come and call as Jacob. I called it as Jake before on your show before.
Yeah, I remember.
On Nick's stream. How you doing, brother? I want to talk about the one thing that were clips is
the clips.
I live in a state. I live in a state that we didn't get none of the eclipse. I live in Mississippi. We didn't get
zero?
none of the eclipse.
I read somewhere that 99% of the United States was able to see at least a partial eclipse. But I don't know where I read that. I think I read that on CNN.
Yeah.
They would be able to see at least a partial eclipse, but I don't know. I didn't even see that. I didn't even go outside.
Hey, Nick, I'm sorry that I called CNN fake news. I know you guys are CNN fans.
What makes you say I'm a CNN fan? I might be. I like CNN. I too read CNN like Hake.
By the way, did you see that BuzzFeed? BuzzFeed is in some hot water right now. They used the picture of Alexa Bliss.
Of Alexa, what's going on with that?
She basically BuzzFeed did an article and used the picture without asking. They didn't ask her or WWE, her employer, that if they could use that photograph. I
feel like it's been a bloodbath, so to speak. Hopefully hopefully the media doesn't come after me for using the word bloodbath here. But you got to understand, it's been kind of a bloodbath, don't you think, for these media companies, BuzzFeed and all these legacy. I don't even know if that's legacy. BuzzFeed's internet, but they were so SJW, if I can use a term here, that it turned off people. I don't think they ever came back.
Yeah. I just want to tell you that your Nick stream got blocked by BuzzFeed.
By BuzzFeed. That's crazy. And then, look at that. This is what you get. Just like when you go after Trump and then your life goes bad. This is what you get, BuzzFeed. You're blocking my video on Friday, which has been unblocked now. Thank you for that, by the way, Jake. But this is what you get. Look, now they got problems.
Yeah,
I'm just messing around.
It's like they're by the way, do you watch wrestling?
No. Like WWE?
Yeah.
Like back in the day. Heck yeah.
Cody won the belt over the weekend. Cody Rhodes won the belt.
I don't even know that name. These must be modern wrestling names.
Dusty Rhodes' son.
Dusty Rhodes.
Youngest son. The American Dream.
But I remember names like Chris Benoit. I remember names like obviously Undertaker, Booker T.
Retired.
Booker T. People like that. Brock Lesnar. That's when I saw that stuff. And then I did all the moves on my cousin.
By the way, Paul Heyman is in the Hall of Fame now. They put Paul Heyman in the Hall of Fame. Hey, by the way, I just want to say I just want to shout out your production team at JLP Studios.
Very nice. You hear that? I appreciate that shout out, Jake.
Because here's the thing. I got knocked out 3 times. I called in 3 times yesterday on Hague. Twice I got knocked off.
It's how it goes sometimes. It could be a little. Yeah. It could be a little unstable when you're on hold. Especially depends on people's connections sometimes. Well, Jake, is there anything else you want to talk about before we move the wheels here, sir?
By the way, American Anchor Baby is the best in the world.
Oh, right on, Jake. I appreciate it.
And by the way, I got something I want to tell you.
Sure. Oh, is he pranking me? Fool me once. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. I should have been quicker. I don't know. What do you think, folks? What do you think, folks? You think he's, I don't know. I'm a little suspicious. No, I guess I don't mind the click too much. But Jake might be Jake might be a little more on it, quicker on the draw, and pranking us, and we're not even realizing it. Hey, what's up, Carver? Thank you for the super chat. Of course, Benoit, the first name Nit pulls out. I bet you Nick like Rey Mysterio. Yeah, of course. I loved Rey Mysterio. All the fancy little flips, Hurricane Rana, 619. How come they made the Latino, what was that guy? Eddie Guerrero. You remember his theme song? I lie, I cheat, I steal. I lie, I cheat, I steal. And all the Mexicans watch Eddie Guerrero. Yeah, I lie, I cheat, I steal. I love Mexican representation in WWE. Let's go. R.I.P. Eddie Guerrero, he's the best. What can I say? It was fun times. It was fun times. DDTs to my cousin. He was a great sport. Okay, I was bigger. It was easy. It's not like he's not gonna be FUing me anytime soon. Okay, sorry. We have LNC afterwards though, and everything is fine. So no complaints here. I got Jaime out of Minnesota. Appreciate your call. You're on the air. Oh.
Hey.
Bad timing? I think we got you now.
Oh, okay, cool. Hey, you know that Putin guy, I don't think anybody's going to give him any land. You know, I think he's got it now.
Right. That's what. You know what that's a good way of saying it. More like let him keep. More like let him keep it.
Nobody's gonna let him nothing, man. He's got it. Huh?
Yeah. More like instead of concede land, it's more like we'll just stop fighting you, trying to fight you for it.
Right.
And agree that you won it.
And I was thinking about it, and it's kind of like two boxers in a ring. You know, you got the boxers, the referee, and the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in Ukraine and Russia, they're the boxers, right?
Yeah.
And then Biden, he's the referee. And Ukraine's getting so pummeled, you know, and he won't call the fight.
He won't call it. Yeah.
And then you got Zelensky over there as the coach, you know, saying, "Hey, yeah, keep him fighting."
Now, isn't that a sign of a coach who does not care for his the person they got under them? They care more about. They just care about winning. They don't care about
They care about the hype or something.
They care about the hype, and they only care about winning. They don't even care about good things and fair things.
Yeah, I guess that Zelensky guy, they only care about the hype. They don't care about the people.
It's just my impression, you know?
Because once this is all said and done, what's Zelensky going to be doing, huh? He's going to have another cushy job somewhere doing something.
Yeah, you know, I see him wearing his military-looking stuff, but I don't know. Do you know if he's done any combat stuff or anything at all close to that?
I've seen some of the music videos he's been in. Have you seen those?
I've seen those. Yeah, those are pretty good.
What? Nah, man.
I don't know.
Bad.
I actually don't even remember it. I'm just being like nice, like complimenting him on such nice entertainment when, you know, he should be, I guess, leading.
If you'd seen him, you'd remember.
I think I remember one just now. Oh, no.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Am I off base here in my kind of, it really is sort of an impression. It is informed a little bit with articles and some stuff I just hear the politicians say. But, you know, I don't think it's that important to take a position on this. But that being said, what do you think about that? Of my impression here, it doesn't seem like this moral standpoint from America is something I can just trust. I'm not saying Russia's this immoral thing either, but it sounds to me like it's pretty reasonable to not want missiles on your doorstep. Am I crazy?
No, that makes sense. You remember the Cuba thing, right?
Yeah.
America wasn't too happy about that either.
Yes, sir. It's a great point.
So it's a little hypocritical.
It's just, and I find it kind of interesting too to talk about. I think it puts kind of the human mind, the minds of man in display. Right on, sir.
Right. But I guess the really important thing is, no matter what the propaganda says, to have your own opinion or no opinion.
Right.
I talk to people, and you know, they're in with the Ukrainians. You know, they get super emotional. You know,
Right.
I see them getting emotional. I say, why are you getting emotional about it? It's not you. It's not happening to you. You know, and what good is being emotional about it? You're not helping anybody.
That is a good point. Let's say whoever you're talking to is like, well, no, Jaime. I mean, but Putin is disturbing the world order. This is literally Hitler. Let's say they really believe that. What is getting emotional about it? How is that helping that?
Yeah. Well, you can't do anything about it, you know?
How is that, let's say, how is that helping or advancing that cause at all?
None at all.
It's like, do you really care about that?
It's none of your business. It's none of our business. I mean, we can talk about it and communicate about it and, you know, give our opinions. But getting, like, super emotional and you know, all that, that's bad.
Right. That should be your sign to slow down. But, you know, that's just to play devil's avocado here, that when you say it's none of our business, well, the response from the State Department and Biden and anyone who's brainwashed to believe it is what I said. It's this rules-based international order that's being challenged. And the last time that happened, World War II happened. So, you see, that's how people are thinking. And I find it a little... Yeah, go ahead. My bad.
When I say it's none of our business, I mean it's like citizens, peons like us. None of our business. That's for the big brains over there, you know, the black suits with the ties and
I hope
with the suitcases. That's their problem.
Well, I hope if there ever is a time where it's our problem and we should, and there, you know, that we don't do like the British did and clamor for war for World War I because they were told to feel bad for someone else.
Yeah, once it is our time to worry about it, you know, you just go ahead and head for the hills and get out of Dodge.
Get out of Dodge. Well,
yeah,
I'll just be a cook, so I'm not. You know, I'll just be. I'll just be feeding the soldiers, so hopefully I don't have to fight.
Well,
that's a joke. It's kind of dark. I'm really just messing around. I don't really full of fear.
You'll be the cook, and I'll be digging the latrines.
Nice. Let's go. Based. Jaime, appreciate your call, man. Anything else you want to say before we move the wheels here?
Nah, that's it. Have a good one.
Call me again. Yeah. I just want to see someone talking about things in like a normal way. They're bad. We must hurt them. We must make them pay. Lindsey Graham, what is this, a comic book? We must make them pay. With what? When you say pay, you mean like lives, of which many Ukrainians have already paid. The real world. Anyways, I got James out of New York continuing on this topic, I think. I appreciate your call. Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, Nick?
All is well, sir.
As a first-time caller for your
very nice.
Live.
Thank you for that.
But
First-time caller.
I noticed I was listening to the topics today. They was talking a lot about like Russia and stuff. So like I wanted to say, because I listened to the Tucker Carlson Vladimir Putin interview they did, and I actually listened to it a few times.
Oh, really?
Because because the way that Putin was, instead of like, you know, saying what he wants, everything, he gave like a really in-depth history of what he believes to be what Russia was and where its its borders were naturally. And I thought it was very interesting because the way he was explaining it, you know, like before World War II happened, because one reason why Russia went so far north was because the armies can only chase them so far into like where their territory is, where it's like at a disadvantage for Germany and stuff like that. And I feel like Russia is kind of like a cyclical kind of like with the seasons, especially back in the day, I guess you can say, where they would migrate from north to south with the seasons, you know, like when it would be winter, they would move down south and they would, you know, kind of like how birds do, like
migrate. Yeah, nomadic.
Exactly. And then like during the springtime, they can go north and explore and forage or whatever they do there. And they have like a migratory kind of lifestyle. And since World War II, when everyone made their borders, I feel like they've kind of been trapped in the North, like in that extreme kind of environment constantly. They don't have that ability. Yeah, no, I was just thinking about it too. I never heard it either. This is just a thought I was having. Because, since World War II, when everyone made their borders, okay, this is where my country is, this is where people can invade, initially during the war, it was an advantage to go north. And because I guess the opponent army or whatever, they didn't know how to survive in the cold like the Russians did. They didn't know how to prepare properly to go to war with them. But then what happens is after that, they kind of got stuck in that extreme environment. So I think that's like why constantly they're, doing like communism, where they have no choice but to do communism in Russia.
Their extreme environment is causing all these extreme things.
Yeah, because if
they
there's
can't
not
help but
enough
be extreme.
to go around in the winter, guess what? Everyone eats each other because there's no way to survive. And I think the reason why Russia wants to get back like that past the southern border is because maybe they're just tired of suffering in extreme conditions all the time because of a borderline that was made during the Second World War. They want to have their kind of like their spring or their summer or their winter, migratory path where they can kind of like how, I guess like a wave for the ocean comes into the beach. That's how they would move back and forth with the season.
Interesting. I never knew this. I just never heard of it. I just personally never heard about it. It could be. I really don't know. I know that.
I don't know. It's just like a thought I had.
Right. It's just a thought you had.
Like,
we're just kind of imagining the possibilities.
We never really think of like humans being migrant, like birds. But maybe that's what Russia, their lifestyle was for millennia. Was that kind of moving with the seasons. Getting
nomadic.
Out of the extreme.
Well, it's time to the nomadic age past Russia. No, I'm just messing around.
Sure.
Since you watched the interview multiple times, and I have you here on the phone, I think this might be an interesting question because I'm remembering the interview as well. And although I know on this show I've been criticizing this sort of moral angle that America seems to adopt when talking about all these wars and foreign policy. And I know I brought doubt to that. At the same time, I'm remembering that same interview. Maybe you can remind me here. What impression did you get from Putin? Because I remember hearing all the responses to the State Department, and it's like, well, no, actually that's not true. Russia's just trying to defend itself. We don't want missiles on our doorstep, etc. But I saw Putin on that Tucker interview, and he didn't really talk defensively. He talked about what you said, that what Russia deserves, its borders that it deserves because of history and stuff like that.
Yeah,
personally, I mean, like you said, World War II happened. It already happened. The borders were made. Anyways, what do you think about that? What impression did you get? I didn't really get the.
Well, my impression
just get away from us, guys.
Was more of him just having an opportunity to tell his history of Russia. I didn't think he came there to say whether he was right or wrong about anything or to threaten anyone. But like with a lot of media nowadays, like how often do you hear an opportunity from I would say Tucker Carlson is like a reputable, journalist, reporter. It doesn't matter if you don't like him or not, or if you think he's on the right. But like to hear and to even have the opportunity to hear like Putin say, like have a conversation with someone without like it being like CNN or someone trying to like purposely like dig or like attack him and let him talk. He seemed very like, like had a really good head on his shoulders. He didn't seem angry. He didn't seem like he was trying to get a one-up on anybody like that. He was just describing his story and letting everyone know his the information that he has. And I think it was really great of Tucker to do that because whether you agree with whatever Putin was saying or not, we have him speaking on record, talking, you know, like
Right.
anything he says now can be used against him or, you know, to prove
Right.
his point was right.
Right.
But like when I heard, I don't want to sound like a Russian.
Yeah, you
sympathizer or
Russophile?
anything like that.
What are you,
Yeah.
Russia's State Department?
But, like, how often have you ever heard a politician speak so calmly without anger, or like even when Tucker was kind of pressing him about like his policies or detaining journalists or stuff like that, he never like let that like show any kind of anger or like resentment
Right,
towards any
right,
of
right.
the questions he got. You know, he actually spoke like how you would want someone to speak who represented your country. So
I think that's a
yeah,
fair point, you know. And so it brings into question, again, I just can't just go with this knee jerk like, okay, well, my side said this, my media said this, and they'll call Putin a dictator. I'm like, and then I'll see all these people who love him. I just don't know. We'll leave it as I don't know. How about that? Appreciate your call, sir. James, anything else you want to say before we move the wheels here?
No, I just thanks for having me on, and I'll call back one day again.
Thank you, man. Call me again.
Have a good day.
Appreciate that.
Bye.
Okay, 888-775-3773. Yep. Hey, 𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒎, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. It says, Putin has made it publicly known since 1994 what would happen if NATO expanded. They set up on his borders. What do you expect him to do? Yeah, thank you for that information, Kale. Appreciate that. Bunch of Russia files in the chat. Somebody get the CIA. That's a joke. We got, that's super chats. Beautiful. Thank you. You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/anchor, baby. Incredible. So I was going to tell you about something here. What else do I got for you? Trump peace. We want peace. I think he could do it. I think he just might be able to do it. Beautiful. I think we can move on, though. I think we can move on. I want to show you something that you might remember. Oh, there you go. Now, let's see if you remember this video. It's from, I believe, hold on. This is from, I know it's a couple of years ago. Oh, yeah, 2017. We're going back to 2017 for this one. Okay. I need you to see this. Let me show you a video. Folks, do you remember this? Ring any bells? It's kind of going around again.
Okay, if you don't feel safe, get off the airplane.
This is your captain speaking, but never like this.
I'll stop, and we'll fly the airplane. Don't worry, I'm going to let my co-pilot fly it. He's a man. Okay?
It's a total meltdown. The pilot boarded in her street clothes and addressed the passengers over the intercom. Passenger Pam O'Neill couldn't believe what was happening.
She said, let's take a vote. How many of you would like to take off now with me dressed as I am, or would you prefer that I take 10 minutes to get changed into my cute little uniform? Then she started talking about her divorce and political candidates, and the minute she mentioned that, a gentleman stood up and just yelled, whoa, enough, you're scaring me.
Another passenger,
Let me out.
Reese, got up to leave and gave a running commentary on social media. Pilot also insulted a couple on board.
Did I offend you? Okay, so did I purposely offend you? I did. The answer is yes. Flight attendants, please disarm doors.
After 20 passengers insisted on getting off the United Airlines flight, the pilot quietly left the aircraft.
Okay, if you don't feel safe, get off the airplane.
Yeah, no, we're gonna be deboarding we're gonna be deplaning. Yeah, I think after that we're gonna deplane. We're gonna deplane everyone, and you're going to jail or I don't know what. But you need help. Female pilot wearing plain clothes, insane meltdown. This was in 2017. Trump derangement syndrome maybe had a part to play. Talking about political candidates scaring people off the plane. You don't want to get on that plane, that's for sure. Imagine that. This has been going around again. On Twitter, informing those who may have missed this amazing moment from 2017, public meltdown about our divorce. Life's difficult, but you got to fly a big old 747 with 300 people on board. Okay? Yeah. You feel like, you feel like driving into oncoming traffic, okay? And yeah, you may be having a bad day, but you got to fly a 747 with 300 people on it. She reeked of fear and alcohol. Can she land safely though, Nit? I don't know. Why do you ask me that? Can she land safely? I don't know. I don't think in that state anyone is safe. And I'm sure that sent a lot of people confused and made a lot of people afraid. People are afraid, in fact. Some are concerned, some are afraid. Depends how you look at life. But they're talking about aviation, the industry here. Planes, are they safe to be on? Incredible story here from CNN. Apologies. A Houston-bound Boeing 737 operated by Southwest Airlines returned safely to Denver International Airport on Sunday. You may have heard of this. After losing an engine cover. This was filmed by passengers on board. A true mess. This whole shroud comes off.
This isn't Charmin.
Oh, no. Thank you, Charmin.
I don't feel as clean.
Hurry up, Dad.
Stop. Go away. Sorry. What a mess. You know about Charmin. Ultra safe, ultra strong. Look, I'm telling you about this Boeing thing that just happened recently. They're investigating the incident, which occurred during takeoff. In recorded air traffic control audio, one of the pilots said passengers and flight attendants heard something loud hit the wing. This is the latest in a string of mechanical issues to plague Boeing aircraft across a range of airlines over the past several months. It's incredible stuff. Look at this.
Takeoff in Denver last night. Listen to the pilot and air traffic control working together to land the Houston-bound plane safely back at Denver International Airport.
3695, no problem. Fly present heading. Do you need to run checklist?
Yeah, we're going to need some time. For now, everything's okay. And we don't even know the nature of it, but apparently several passengers and flight attendants heard something loud hit the wing, so we're just going to take our time, get set up, and be ready to go. Thank you.
Alpha 3695, no problem. You can expect vectors. Just keep me advised of the situation and let me know if you want to declare an emergency, but I assume we'll probably do that anyways.
Yeah, I'll get back to you. Stand by.
I mean, pretty extraordinary, right? The images you're seeing there while they're taxiing for takeoff, presumably, because we heard our Pete Muntean earlier say that the plane actually made it about 10,000 feet in the air before it was able to turn around and then did land safely there. In a statement to CNN, Southwest Airlines apologizes for the inconvenience.
We're sorry.
But said their highest priority is the safety of their customers. The FAA is investigating the incident, which is the latest in a string of issues to plague Boeing aircraft.
Now that is the number one concern. Do you doubt that at all? The number one concern is obviously customer safety, passenger safety. That's obviously the number one concern, right? You would be bankrupt if you didn't. Your airline wouldn't make it very far. Right? Right? Please? So, you know, you heard about the Boeing plane here with the piece falling off. And lately, your host here, the anchor baby, the American anchor baby, I've been reading a whole bunch of accident reports. You see, I've been training. Some might call it mandatory training. I won't call it that. Some might call it mandatory training due to pilot performance, but I won't call it that, you know. That's just something I'm hearing about. But I've been watching a whole bunch of footage and reading accident, like full accident reports, you know, from the NTSB and all that. National Transportation Safety Board. They're in charge of finding out why these planes crash, okay? And I'm basically reading up on a whole bunch of accidents, okay? And these accident reports are fascinating. They're I'm watching. I don't know if anyone's seen Green Dot Aviation, since I'm going to show some footage from this person's channel. I'll source it for you. I'll just show a little bit, but amazing stories on some of these accident reports. They post the full accident reports. You read them, and they're amazing. They're amazing insights into the human mind. They're really interesting how these accidents can even happen. Yeah, there are freak accidents, mechanical, but there are also many pilot errors, egos at play, companies and individuals who do not put safety first, and even modern day examples and stories that I think point to this change in philosophy that can only lead to inevitable just accidents, bad things, deaths. So you got the pieces falling off this Boeing plane, the door plug falling off. I'm reading about these accidents. And like I just said, I'm fascinated to read about how do I put this? Egos and Satan at play. These are experts in some of these cases. These are people who've been flying thousands of hours, 10,000, 20,000 plus hours, 30. And even then, in a moment of unawareness, doubt, fear, anxiety, and the devil himself really creeps into these cockpits of these doomed, I guess, flights that you read about. And he has his way. It's so fascinating. I mean, maybe we can go deep into one of these this Friday on a Anchor Baby Air. You know, Nick Stream Fridays, we're more relaxed. But I'm telling you, man, some of these are incredible.
Back to Puerto Vallarta.
I'm reading about Alaska Airlines 261. What an interesting flight here. What's significant about this one is interesting, first of all, that it's Alaska Airlines. You read about Alaska Airlines, and they're full of maintenance scandals and maintenance issues. And a door plug fell off of a Boeing plane just recently. Maintenance, just shoddy maintenance schedules and checkups and all that. It's pretty significant stuff. Alaska Airlines, imagine that. Isn't it? And Alaska Airlines is also that one where in the past few years it was a pilot who was hitching a ride. He was like a dead man pilot, not one of the ones operating the plane. But it was a story recently where he tried to shut down the engines of the plane or something. And I think the excuse was that he was on shrooms the night before. You remember that? So in this Alaska Airlines, I'll try and go through these quickly off the top of my head, what I remember and what I mean by egos. But this Alaska Airlines 261, two very experienced pilots. And you got to understand something about aviation here a little bit. They're flying the MH-80, a little bit of an older plane. Sorry, MD-80. They're flying the MD-80. This is an accident back in 2000, the year 2000. They're flying the MD-80, and what's significant about this one is, oh yeah, that's right. You need to know a little bit about aviation for this one. If you look at your screen, you see a plane, obviously, and you see it has a tail, and you see on the tail has a number of fins coming out. Duh. This is in fact what you're looking at, I believe, is an MD-80. Let's look at an image of an MD-80. How about it? Since we got some time here, you can call in 888-775-3773. You see the tail. You see the top fins on the tail back there? On the top. Those fins can be, they can be actuated like this. That's called trimming. The reason you set the trim of a plane is so that you don't have to keep pulling back on it to do a certain XYZ maneuver. Are you following? See, let's say normally you're in a climb on one of these planes. You're pulling back on your yoke. You're climbing the plane. You got to pull back pretty hard, especially depending on how fast you are, how strong the winds are. So you're pulling back and you're getting fatigued. One of the things a pilot can do is with the pickle switch that's right here on one of his thumbs, he can set the trim of the plane, thereby actuating that fin I showed you and turning it against the wind so that it's as if he was holding back the yoke without having to hold back the yoke. You understanding me here? So what happened with Alaska Airlines 261 is shoddy maintenance. This thing finally broke, and they're in the air when this thing broke into the nose down position, causing the plane to dive. Okay. But why is this one significant? I'll try and go faster here. Why is this one significant? These were experts. These were absolute experts. And when he was messing with the trim, it wouldn't work. And so the pilot, the captain thought it was a jam. So he just did it harder. Finally, he broke it, and it put the plane in a very difficult position, but they were able to control it, at least for a while. They were messing around. Finally, the plane is stable, and the captain got a thought. Let me mess with the trim again. Maybe I'll fix it. Boom, plane goes into a worse thing. They go into a spiral dive. It's a big deal. The captain finally gets it under control. And what does he do? He gets the thought, you know what? Maybe now I can fix the jam. He ends up breaking this trim to an impossible position, and it takes the plane, actually inverts the plane. They fly upside down for a little bit before going into the water. 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎, 213, two experts, absolute experts, been flying for years. Big storm. They had to deal with a big storm. Everything in their many years of experience was telling them, don't do it. They ignored every sign. The captain said, God will guide us. Didn't matter, right? In my opinion, egos killed him. I guess I could keep going here. I find these all so interesting. How some of these captains for example, they just had the wrong picture in their head. They thought that the plane was operating one way, but one little detail they assumed, and the plane was not flying like that. I find this all so interesting because I come back to the story that I brought up not too long ago about Boeing and this significant change in this philosophy. You see, there's this philosophy, obviously, in aviation, which is to learn from the mistakes of the past. These are all lessons that have been learned. With Alaska Airlines 261, the lesson, there's a couple of different lessons. They retrained like all national pilots to not, if something doesn't work, to not keep trying it. Number one. Number two, it was some maintenance stuff. And different lessons that you learn, okay, that the aviation industry has learned so that this may not happen. At least the best that you can, right? And to read about this 737 MAX and how it's like the first time that the aviation industry has gone away from the industry standard of having redundancy, meaning you have 2-3 things of the same system, so if one should go wrong, you have another one. 737 MAX going against that. No, you can't sink it. You can't sink it. It's like the Titanic. No, we just need one of everything because it's not going to break, because it's unsinkable. It's super advanced. It's like the Titanic. And how just a change in mentality. Really, a corruption in the heart maybe goes deep, can change a whole industry. It could change a whole company whose prime directive at least was the safety of its passengers. I remember mentioning this John Barnett, who was a whistleblower, like a Boeing whistleblower, who committed suicide. I know there's a lot of conspiracy behind that. It's also quite likely he killed himself. It's happening quite a bit. Men are killing themselves out here. They're empty. They got problems. But he brought a lot of attention to these things. John Barnett was mired in an institution that was in a perpetual state of unlearning all the lessons it had absorbed over a 90-year ascent to the pinnacle of global manufacturing. This is from prospect.org. Like most neoliberal institutions, Boeing had come under the spell of a seductive new theory of knowledge that essentially reduced the whole concept to a combination of intellectual property, trade secrets, and data, discarding thought and understanding and complex reasoning. Possessed by a skilled and experienced workforce as essentially not worth the increased healthcare costs, okay? Big changes. Incredible. CEO Jim McNerney, who joined Boeing in 2005, had last helmed 3M, where management, as he saw it, had overvalued experience and undervalued leadership before he purged the veterans into early retirement. This article on a little bit on this CEO of Boeing, where his philosophy, at least in the last company, was, experience, all that, I don't know. We're overvaluing that. Incredible. According to this article, this CEO is pejoratively known as Prince Jim, where long-timers of Boeing used to call him Prince Jim, repeatedly invoked a slur for long-time engineers and skilled machinists in the obligatory vanity leadership book he co-wrote. Those who cared too much about the integrity of the planes and not enough about the stock price were phenomenally talented a-holes, and he encouraged his deputies to ostracize them into leaving the company. I mean, this is, I guess, an opinion piece here from prospect.org, but I find this all quite fascinating. You remember when they were replacing the cops and stuff? That COVID vaccine came around, and there was some talk of, look, this is such a simple way of removing Trump supporters from this or that institution. But I remember that back then, that kind of talk was still quite nebulous. Yeah, although it was quite clear that that vaccine mandates could be feasibly used politically. You know what I mean? The concept, the thinking on it was, I think, in my opinion, a little bit more nebulous. It wasn't quite pinned down. They have a term for it now. It's actually quite pinned down. DEI. I know you heard it before, but I'm just saying. Remember when they were replacing the cops, getting rid of any Trump supporters? It's totally possible. It's possible to replace institutions. Yeah, they look like, they walk and talk like Americans. They have the name, the title, but with a little filter known as DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. You can drop that in a bucket and change the whole culture. Things that were on my mind, things I'm thinking about. Okay. 888-775-3773. Who really cares is something I heard once. Anyways, I don't want to fly. Yeah, what a mess. Yeah, I don't know. Planned obsolescence. Planes and aircraft used to be prestigious. Now it's just garbage looking. I was saying a sort of joke to Sean earlier today, and then I looked this up. Now let's see if we can confirm this. Because I was saying this kind of joke to Sean earlier. I was like, are you allowed to bring your own parachute onto a plane? Now I go on TSA.gov. I go on TSA.gov, and it says here, you may transport parachutes either with or without automatic activation devices in carry-on or checked bags, meaning I can bring a parachute. Parachutes should always be packed separately from other baggage. If a TSA officer determines that a bag must be opened to inspect the parachute, you must be present to assist in the inspection. So I was just kind of thinking about this. Maybe security, maybe personal safety, maybe passenger safety in an airline is too much of a responsibility for the airlines. Maybe the future is you watch out for your own. It's kind of more like a bus. It's more like a subway than a prestigious airline. Okay, you get on, and you got your own parachute that you brought on as your carry-on, and you worry about your own security. Always bring your own parachute. Now the question, I guess, remains. The question becomes, let's say, when do you ditch the plane, right? Like, and is that even possible? Are you going to be putting the other passengers' lives in danger? Because if security is your own personal thing, you bring in your own parachute. That means you have to worry about getting outside of the plane before any sort of impact, any sort of danger happens, right? We're thinking about these things. We're thinking about these things, thinking about the possibilities. So if we're thinking about this feasibly, how it must play out is that somewhere along the way, you as an individual, you have to decide that the plane isn't safe anymore. You are ditching the plane. At this point, what do? I guess you got to get out of the plane. So that means you got to open it. Aren't you violently decompressing the airplane? Aren't you putting your fellow passengers at risk? Well, I guess at this point, you have decided, you know what? This plane's going down anyways. I need to get out of this plane and turn on the parachute. I'll say this. In that kind of future, even if you decompress the cabin of your fellow passengers, the oxygen mask will fall out. And they'll be able to put on the oxygen mask, giving the plane 20 to 30 minutes of oxygen per passenger until the captain can get the plane down to a breathable altitude. And they should all have their own personal parachutes anyways, right? Can't have real talk with all the tomfoolery. What are you talking about? Oh, thank you, Lord Spike Protein. Appreciate that. Sometimes there is real talk, though. But yeah, they can be kind of distracted in the chat sometimes. Lord Spike Protein. I appreciate the attention to detail. Maybe I should mod you up. Anyone who does not want the responsibility of mod, if you have it, and you just want to just be normal. I just want to be normal in the chat. Don't feel obligated. It's a responsibility. Yeah, parachutes. Maybe we got to just bring our own parachutes. That's still not Nick going to be lost if he reads chat right now. Thank you, Nada. I'm not going to do that then. Yeah. Are we bringing our own parachutes? Didn't they used to have No, they didn't have parachutes. They had I don't know if they used to have, but I remember being younger on planes, and they would direct me to where the life jackets were. Do they still have life jackets? Define normal, Nick. I guess I mean without the responsibility of being a mod. Where do you find a parachute? I sure am, LOL. I know, it's time to do some parachute research. What a mess. Because they seem dead set on this. We're making the 737 MAX. We're putting the women in the captain's seat. We're making them air traffic controllers. I don't care if they're black and difficult. Can we at least make sure they're qualified? No. We're not doing that either. Okay, fine. Can we at least make sure they're qualified? No. Don't you know it's about time? History calls for it. Enough pain has happened that we got to have equality now. Please, can we at least make sure they're qualified? No. You bigot. Okay. Let's keep it moving here. 888-775-3773. DEI. What else here? What incredible stuff. Incredible. I think we can move on here, though. We're going to keep it moving here a little bit. Vasco, thank you so much for the super chat. Vasconomi with the no message super chat there. Appreciate that, sir. Mods are not your friends. We're your parents. That's what I mean. If you want to just be normal, relinquish the wrench. Ripcord pit unite. But yeah, stuff I found quite fascinating. I have something else for you that you might find interesting. This will be quick. About social media, Snapchat. Just came across this article. Breitbart reporting on a feature that Snapchat is turning off. It's a controversial feature. A feature they say is fueling teen anxiety. It's fueling it. But yeah. Snapchat turns off controversial feature fueling teen anxiety. A little bit of a story here I want to show you. And you can call in 888-775-3773. Let me see here. Now, what interested me was... let me see if I can remember what it was. There was something in this article. What I found interesting was... I think it was the prescription, the diagnosis here from the experts and the parents. Because they're seeing the kids, they're seeing they're not okay. They're depressed, they're anxious. They're saying it's social media's fault. They're going to bring Zuckerberg to a tribunal. Who knows? And I see your calls. Thank you, 888-775-3773. They're saying, though, that these social media giants, they just want money. They don't care about the people. And they're even making them depressed. Snapchat has just adjusted its solar system feature, turning it off by default. In response to recent criticism and concerns over its potential negative impact on teens' mental health and relationships. Snapchat solar system. Now, you might not have Snapchat or anything, and I don't really know how this works, but okay, apparently it's a feature here. It shows you who your best friends are, I guess. Snapchat. Who even has a snap? So here it is, TechCrunch. Okay, hold on. The solar system feature serves as a friend ranking tool and it is driving teen anxiety by making them worry about their social status. One teen explains it's everyone's biggest fear put onto an app. Now you see your rankings. Why is that anxious, though? Why is that causing you anxiety? So you get to see where you really stand. You get to see what's the reality. No more anxiety. No more fears. No more wishing and wanting and wondering. Now you know where you stand. All anxiety washes away. Or could it be your anxieties are a little bit deeper? You're thinking to yourself, it's causing me anxiety because I want to be included. I want to be loved. I don't want to be left out. I thought I was your friend. But the solar system on the Snapchat app is telling me otherwise. And now it's causing me anxiety. TechCrunch reports that Snapchat, the popular social media platform beloved by teenagers, has come under scrutiny after a recent Wall Street Journal reported, highlighted how its solar system feature was contributing to increased anxiety among teenagers. The feature, available to paid subscribers, ranks users based on their proximity to their Snapchat friends, using celestial bodies like Mercury for close friends and Uranus for more distant ones. Grow up. So, critics argue that online communication doesn't necessarily reflect real-world relationships, and such rankings can lead to hurt feelings when users discover they aren't as close to a friend as they thought. In response to the backlash, Snapchat has decided to turn the feature off by default. You know what's funny about that? It was that line that struck me and why I even saved this article. That line about online communication doesn't necessarily reflect real-world relationships, which is like true to a certain extent. It's somewhat true here. Hold on. 15-year-old Callie from Yorktown, New York, experienced firsthand how this feature can fuel drama and misunderstandings in young relationships. A lot of kids my age have trouble differentiating best friends on Snapchat from actual best friends in real life, she said. Callie dealt with an upset boyfriend who noticed he was ranked lower than one of her male friends. Parents and experts are expressing concern over the mental health impact of features like these. It was this section that struck me. This might be silly, but I'm noticing some things. I'm noticing some disconnects between older generations, younger generations, parents and children. That's not real life, they say. That's just online. That's not real. And there's a truth to that, right? A wisdom. I think I'd rather see it as a sort of digital representation of you. That's how I like to see it. Why? Because I'm not saying people aren't allowed to be anonymous, but have you noticed that? When you're anonymous, you say things you're just... I'm not saying you're not allowed to be anonymous. It's just the mentality I've always had about myself. It kind of, it orders me online. You know what I mean? Morality. I'm not saying I'm moral, but what do you do when no one's looking kind of thing? Do you put your shopping cart away? Are you charitable even when you're using a online nickname? What I'm trying to describe here is that, look, Callie here is saying, why is my boyfriend mad when he noticed that he's ranked lower than one of her male friends? I'm trying to say that our interactions online should be kind of a one-to-one. There should be a sort of digital representation, in a sense. And the older people aren't really seeing that. Maybe I kind of lost what my point is here a little bit, but I'm just saying, I'm noticing a older people are just out of their depth, I guess, obviously, with this social media stuff. I lost what I was saying, folks. Look, Callie's boyfriend. Your instinct, you shouldn't get mad. You shouldn't get mad. What are you getting mad about? But your instincts are, look, just because it's online doesn't mean that you're not getting an ego out of it or whatever. Anyways, we're moving on. I lost the point. This is stupid. Matthew with the super chat, thank you, says the human brain's mass is mostly cholesterol. My newest conspiracy theory is the invention of margarine and the uptick of senility aren't a coincidence. How do you say that? I'd be mad too, says Joel. Who you sending pics to? Hey, by the way, Joel or anybody out there, can someone help me? I'm burning up in here. It's incredible how it feels like in here right now. As you can see, I'm red. I don't know. Someone must have turned on the heat or something. It's absolutely ridiculous. So if you could like point that towards me or something. Is the heat on? Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. 888-775-3773. Thank you for the fan there. Incredible. Need the AC on. No, we're good with the fan. We're solid. We're laughing. We're back. We're alive. Where were we? Shall we move on? Shall we move on? Look at this person they're making fun of. Everyone's making fun of this guy right now. They're making fun of this guy. This guy who's making pizza buys. He's just making some pizza pies. Hold on, folks. This is so incredible. I had this. Wasn't I just showing you a video? You heard the audio? Weren't you just listening to a video? Why would this change on me? I know it's something I did, clearly, but... There you go. Jeez. So they're making fun of this guy who's making pizza pies.
I'm not hating at all, right? I actually think it was a great idea. But I think being innovative only gets you so far.
Where did it go?
The key is making consistently good pizza every single time. With the perfect amount of sauce, and not just one, but a second cup of that cheese. That's why I make every pizza to the best of my ability. Because if you want to have the best, you can't take the pies off. With, of course, a nice juicy pepper and our very own signature garlic sauce. Papa John's garlic parmesan crust cheese pizza. Just another way we're doing it better.
A lot of energy. A lot of energy. You're hearing it in his voice. The comments, they're destroying him. I don't think you're getting paid enough to be repping them this hard, bro. Give this man a promotion. He single-handedly brought disgruntled customers back. Bro is giving motivational monologue while prepping up excellent pizza, as easy as he breathes. But he's also getting like a lot of he's getting like criticisms like, dude, you're just working at a franchise, bro. You're not getting paid enough, bro. Why are you showing a good attitude? What are you doing, man? What is this good attitude? You don't get paid enough to show a good attitude and make videos and free advertising. Are you serious? I see that a lot in these comments. Let's support this man. He takes pride on his job. That's rare. Right on, whoever this person is. Nice comment. A little rare. What's rare is people even appreciating he gets paid $20 an hour. That might be true, JB Live, especially with the way the laws have changed recently. They call it a living wage. You know, I talked about it a little bit yesterday. I was showing you that one guy who was getting paid 3 times the federal minimum wage. Remember? $45 an hour? We were lowballing it too. And this guy was like, who can afford living? Lost the plot completely. Maybe he needs a day with whatever this guy's name is. I forget his name. Maybe he needs a day
Why
with...
would you ruin a perfectly good pizza with anchovies?
It's incredible how hard this computer how to use this computer is. Technology has left me, but I'm having a lot of difficulty today. Just playing stuff for you. Maybe they should hang out with our buddy Do Toley here one day, and they may have some appreciation for their lives. There's all these people giving in crap, and like I said, I'm remembering some of this reporting on living on a livable wage and minimum wage jobs and the right attitudes to life and all that. You got to understand, you see this guy going viral on social media? He can go from being just the guy who's making pizzas to like working with the social media department. Just like that. I could totally see that happening in an instant. Someone in social media, in Papa John's, reaching out. Hey, man, we want you to keep making videos. Meanwhile, everybody was laughing. Hey, I don't think you get paid enough, bro. Hey, bro, I don't think you get paid enough, bro. Let's be honest, though. When you hit the record button, you go brand new. That's funny. I'm just rambling a little bit about good attitudes, man. You just gotta like it. I appreciate that. 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎. Because everyone's laughing, and he's gonna be heading the social media department. He's gonna be making videos for the social media department in no time. You know what I mean? Nick missing the obvious. He will never be promoted due to DEI. Dang, black pills in the chat. Black pills from Carver in the chat. That doesn't mean you don't have a good attitude. I know it's asking a lot. Hey, appreciate the super chats. Lord Spike Protein with a very generous super chat there. I appreciate that. Lord Spike Protein, I appreciate the generosity. I almost want to say that all super chatters from today's show, thanks to such a generous benefactor, I almost want to say that everyone who super chatted today also has a first class ticket for Friday. In fact, that is what we're saying. That is what we're saying. All people who have super chatted today will be included in the first class list for Friday. You can thank your generous benefactor, Lord Spike Protein, with his generosity. Thank you, Lord Spike Protein. All super chatters from today are automatic ballers on Friday. So you want to super chat today. If you want to be a baller on Friday, super chat today, be a baller on Friday. Thanks to Lord Spike Protein. Appreciate that. And that means Matthew, with a super chat here I'm about to read, is a baller this Friday. It reads, the human brain mass. Oh, I already read this. Apologies. Thank you, Matthew. About the conspiracy of margarine and the uptick of senility. Margarine. So thank you, Lord Spike Protein. We got ballers. All of you will be ballers this Friday in the Ballers Lounge. You don't want to miss Friday shows. You want to hit the bell. You want to hit the subscription. You're hearing my voice. You like what you hear. Maybe you don't like what you hear. Leave a comment below. You think so, Lord Bibby? You think he needs to be a little bit more generous if you really want that ticket? Jabrail NTP coming in strong with a super chat says, yay. And you know that, sir, you are added to the list of ballers for this Friday. So don't be doubling up on your ballers tickets. Lord Spike, unless you want to. Lord Spike, whoa! I almost can't breathe here. We need to lower down this flight to a breathable atmosphere because Lord Spike Protein just back-to-back was listening to Lord Bibby there. And I hope that was out of your heart and not out of guilt. Lord Spike Protein, back-to-back super chats. I appreciate the support. Your generosity does not go unnoticed. We got many ballers thanks to you, and we will be enjoying said ballers this Friday. Very nice. So cool. Thank you for the generosity there. Lord Spike Protein, hope you're enjoying the show. Where do you want to fly this Friday, sir? Where are we chartering the flight, Lord Spike Protein? Don't worry, you got a few days to decide. We'll go wherever you want. Beautiful. What do we want to do next? What do we want? I got three stories, and I got to decide which one I want to do here in the last minutes of the show. You heard about this Apple River stabbing a couple of years ago? How shall we do this? Incredible. Maybe I don't want to do a story. Okay, I'll do a story here in the last few minutes of the show about J.K. Rowling, I think. But I'm going through my notes, and I wrote in all capitals to myself. I wrote, "What are you unhappy about?" And let me just go off the top here. Because there's something Jesse said recently that I heard differently for the first time. Someone asked him about, Jesse, I'm doing stuff. And it's like, whatever. It's either like smoking cigarettes or I'm just people pleasing, or it's any number of things. You can call it vices. You can call it many things. I don't know. But Jesse asked this caller. He asked this caller one thing, and I feel like I may have heard it many times before, but it's the first time I've heard it this way. And maybe what I saw, maybe you might see it, and maybe it might help. I am going off the top here, though. I wrote in my notes, what are you unhappy about? Because the way when he said that, okay, how do I put this? I just wonder if people are asking themselves that question. And I'm not saying that because you need to discover what's making you unhappy. Like as if there's this one thing that's making you unhappy and it's this external thing. It's this external thing that's the cause of your unhappiness. And if you could just deal with that, you'll not be unhappy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just hearing people call Jesse sometimes and they'll say, Jesse, man, I'm praying. I want to overcome, but I don't know. I'm smoking pot, or I'm just doing this. I'm doing this or that. He asked this one person, what is making you so unhappy that's causing you to turn to those things? I don't know. Maybe this is silly. But I feel like I heard it for the first time in a different way. And I wonder if people are really asking themselves and if they really want to know. I don't know. Have you asked that? Have you asked yourself that question? Come as you are, says 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 in my chat. What do you mean? It might be perfect what you're saying. It just feels like, it feels like maybe people are waiting. I don't know. I'll just wait till I'll just keep praying until I stop feeling a certain way, and then I'll stop, right? It'll just go away. I won't feel the urge, like you say, right, Jesse? I guess what I'm trying to say is you don't have to wait. You can ask yourself that question now. And anyways, this is silly. This is silly. I should think about these things a little bit more. But I do appreciate the super chats anyways. Jessica, I appreciate that. Supporting the show in the last few minutes of the show. Dropping that cash from the air. Wow, back-to-back super chats. 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 says, my mama don't like you, and she likes everyone. You know what that means. Jessica and Kale, you are added into the Ballers Lounge list for this Friday. Court Green, wow. Back-to-back super chats. Kicking it off here. You guys are amazing. Court Green, you know you're a baller this Friday, and I'm going to read your super chat here. It reads, wait, I'm trying to pull it up. Here's a few greenbacks to keep the plane out the ocean, Nick. Your support does not go unnoticed, and this money will go towards training and not crashing in the future. With all these donations, Nick can finally afford to turn on the AC during the second hour. This is awesome. Lord Bibby says, this is all I got in my pocket, Nit. Thank you for the super chats and the support, y'all. We have ballers out of control. You're all on the list. Again, and only ball out if you can ball out. Balling out is appreciated, but ball out with what you can and what you wish. Whew. Anyways. We're having fun. We're having fun. We're having fun on the last few minutes of the show. Let's get to one call here. Casey out of Canada. Appreciate your call. You're on the air.
Hey, how's it going, man?
All is well. Casey, thank you.
So I was just calling about the, because, like, I'm just finishing up work here, and I'm, like, planning to go to the store. I got to go pick up some stuff, but, like, I was thinking in my mind, like, I'm definitely going to get, like, a bottle of wine, you know?
Okay.
And
So
you asked, sorry?
I'm following so far. You're done work, want to go home, and you know to yourself, I'm picking up that bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Keep going.
So it's kind of a vice, you know? Like, I remember, like, I've met with Jesse sometimes in the counseling service, and, anytime I've talked to him about those vices, 'cause I definitely, like, drink more than the average person, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
He's always said, like, you know, just, like, watch it, be aware of it, and, like, I've gotten better. Like, I used to, like, you know, during COVID and the lockdowns, I kind of, like, started, losing control of that a bit, and I don't go too far with it now. I'll drink, like, you know, a reasonable amount and stop. But because I'm aware of it, and it's kind of like once you start being aware of, like, yourself going into that, like, you know, drunk stage where you're, like, you know, just making a fool out of yourself, and then you're aware of it, you don't want to do that anymore because it's uncomfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but then your question of, like, so what you said that he said on his show.
Yeah. I was just about to ask you.
Yeah. So are you talking? You said that Jesse said on his show. He asked somebody, like, why do you feel so bad that you want to go?
Yeah.
And, like,
what are you so unhappy about that's causing you to that? What are you so unhappy about that you want to drink like that?
So it's like and honestly, I kind of called on, like, on a whim here. So, you know.
Yeah. No worries. I appreciate it, man. Seriously.
Yeah, no problem. But
I needed this call to bounce off someone. So please go ahead.
Yeah, and by the way, actually, anyways, I met you on one of the counseling services. He was like, "Hey, this guy's from Canada too."
Oh, I bet you if I saw your face, I'd remember. But I do remember a handful of times. Jesse's like, I was walking by, and he's like, "Nick, I want you to meet someone." And so I bet you I was crooning over his shoulder while he was in his right, and you were doing counseling. I totally met you. That's interesting. I can't quite remember, but yeah, that definitely happened, probably.
Yeah. So anyway, so, like, I was trying to think about it now, and I'm like, it's not that I'm unhappy, but, like, it's kind of like I'm not happy enough, or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, like, cause, like, I've definitely like, I think, like, if I do, probably one of the issues is I don't do a silent prayer frequently enough. But, like, also, like, it's kind of chasing that thrill too. You know what I mean? It's not that I'm unhappy. It's just like it's like out of boredom. You know?
How long have you been chasing this thrill? Like, I guess I should ask, how old are you, if I may?
I'm fucking old, man. I'm 34.
Let's try not to swear, especially when the sun is still out.
So sorry.
Maybe on Extreme Fridays, but hey, let's not even. Anyways, I'm messing around.
Sorry.
You said how old?
34.
Okay, and at these heights of 34, and you have some experience with vices, etc. Would you still say that? Can you still honestly say that the only thing bringing you back is thrill, and the want for thrill? And maybe you're not understanding what I'm asking. The reason I asked is because it sounds to me like you're not just this guy who's partying. It sounds to me like you have some awareness, and you're like, I don't exactly want to do this. Is that fair to say?
It's like,
because it's causing some negativity, whether physical or inner, whatever. You've concluded you don't exactly want to do this. So really, not. Are you following me here? Can you honestly say that only thrill is bringing you back?
I don't really know. I don't really know if I don't really know. I can't really answer that. But like I could tell you that like yeah like I know tomorrow I'm gonna be more tired than I am usually, and that's like not dissuading me for some reason. I still.
But it is a negative thing.
It's a negative
you
thing.
know that it's gonna, but it's just not enough. That's not that big of a deal. What about like health and hangovers and stuff? Is there anything about the drinking that you're like, why am I doing this? This is not exactly fun. Or is it all fun and games right now?
No, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not, it's like, that's why I called in. It's like a really interesting question because like, it's not even that it's fun. Like it kind of like, it makes other things fun. You know what I mean? Like I'll find myself more like uplifted. I have a buddy coming over later. So I'm like, you know, he'll show up and I'll be in a nice bright mood because I'm freaking, you know, I'm feeling the alcohol a little bit. Right. So, so yeah, so it's like it's about that. It's about like uplifting the mood in terms of like health and the healthiness of it. Yeah,
so
like
then what's the
uplifting
issue?
mood.
So then why even call me at all? It's
Because,
just
like,
uplifting your mood. It's really no problem.
Yeah.
You're really so why even call me?
Well, because it's still
Or why
vice,
even call
like,
it a vice? Why even call it?
Well,
Isn't a,
because like I feel like should I always feel uplifted? You know what I mean? Is that what's missing? Is that like I don't feel uplifted? That's why I'm seeking this out because I'm not in the proper. I'm in like the fallen state, so to speak. You know.
I do understand something. Yeah, something about the experience. You're like, this can't be it. Like, I'm missing something. The fact that I need this to be uplifted. Is that what you're concluding?
Exactly. Like, why do I even like? I need it. Like, it's almost like it's like.
Can I ask you something else, and then we can get back to that?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not trying to like offer a. I'm just trying to hear you out, man. And you know what? I just wanted to ask you something just now. When you, you know, you're just going home. You're telling me I'm going home. I know I'm going to get a bottle of wine. But I don't exactly want to. I call it a vice. I think I want to overcome this. I think I want to do something different. When you are drinking or whatever, do you ever find yourself noticing when you're done drinking? What I mean by that, I guess, allow me to describe this. I'm not communicating well. I'm trying to say that. Have you ever noticed that, like when you're drinking and you're having your fun or whatever, that maybe there's a moment where you come out and you're like aware of what you had just done?
Yeah.
And you're like, maybe I should change something.
Yeah.
Yeah? You ever get that moment? You ever get hit with that moment? You're like, maybe something's got to change.
Yeah. And
you ever notice how that moment comes after or during or way after the fun?
Yeah. It'll just like, at some point I'm like, oh,
follow
why
me
am
here.
I like this?
Follow me here.
Yeah.
Next, I can't offer much, man. I just want to offer you this, though. I really sincerely think this is the truth. Next time you deal with this, when drinking is coming up, you're like right now, you're telling me you want to go buy a bottle of wine. Don't necessarily tell yourself, this is bad, I need to stop. Instead, I want to, I'm trying to say that, you know how you came out, I'm just trying to describe how that moment where you came out and you noticed what you were doing and you're telling yourself not to, the reason that's happening is because you didn't even notice what you were doing before that. All I'm saying is try to have some awareness before that moment and notice yourself all the way through the drinking. Notice yourself buying it, notice yourself all the way through and not just notice yourself at the end when you're done. Because if you're just noting yourself at the end when you're done, that's a sign that you were unconscious throughout the whole thing and you didn't really learn anything, which is not a big deal, but that's what's going on.
That's true. Yeah, no,
you're not really
exactly.
seeing why you're so unhappy. You're not really seeing why you're doing this.
Yeah. No, I'm not.
And a sign of that unconsciousness is that you're only noticing at the end of the whole ordeal, instead of being conscious throughout the whole thing. Just try that. I'm trying that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, because like I even have to go out of my way, and I'm not even like, I'm just like, oh yeah, like I'm just gonna go do this thing, and then you know, and like the last time like a couple days ago when I went out, I did the same thing. I did only think of it when I was like done. It was beer at the time, and I was like, oh,
exactly. That's
Wait,
and guess what? Guess what? That wasn't even you. That was probably, because I have some experience with this. It sounds like it's like Satan trying to make you see what you did and make you judge it.
Yeah.
All that is a sign that you just were unconscious. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And if you could just watch yourself, imagine, and you see the cycle here. You see how nasty the cycle is, because Satan makes you see it at the end. Then you feel bad and you're like, I'm not going to do that. And then you think to yourself, the solution is to not drink, when really the solution was, no, just don't go unconscious when I go buy that bottle the next time. And just watch myself throughout the whole thing, and let's see what I learn about myself.
Yeah.
What is making you so unhappy?
I don't know. I wonder. But I mean, what, like, if I find that out, like, how do you think that? Yeah, I guess.
I think so. I think it is. I think you will be closer to. Think about it like this, man. I'm remembering. This is maybe silly connection, but I'm thinking about finances, for example. And I notice how the first step, really, you're like, oh, I got to make more money, or I got to do this or that. No. The first step is you need to discover. You need to see with your own eyes where your money went. You need to open up that account that you have been ignoring, and you need to see where it went and see how much right? I think that's the first step. If you could see what's making you sad and what's making you unhappy, whether it's a situation, stress, something you're not even noticing, of course, that's the first step to walking out of the cave. You wouldn't even need a guide after that, because you could see the next step.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think, honestly, I'm just not doing the silent prayer consistently.
That's interesting.
Yeah, no, and that's why it's like throughout the day, if I don't start my day with it, I find throughout the day I like fall back into like the unconscious, you know?
Yeah, man. I relate so deeply. I appreciate your call on this, sir.
Yeah, man, it's nice to see you guys all doing this, and it's nice to go on my YouTube and be able to like listen to you guys, because I find like all the other stuff is kind of like now that I'm more like into, you know, Jesse's teachings and everything, like a lot of the other stuff kind of feels empty to me, or like, you know, it's like it's almost uncomfortable. I put you guys on, I like, you know, it reminds me how to like, you know, it reminds me to be conscious, really. So
yes, sir.
Nice
Slow down. I think it's the only thing in our ways, man.
Yeah, for sure, 100% for everyone. Yeah.
Big time.
All right.
Hey, Casey, anything else you want to say before we move the wheels?
No, that's it. Just thank you so much. Keep doing what you guys are doing. Love you guys, the whole crew, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, you know about Bond and but yeah, I met you through the counseling.
Oh yeah.
I met you there.
I watch Jesse every morning. I try to watch the church service, and you know, so I'm deep in at this point.
Nice, Casey. Appreciate your call. Call me again. I gotta end.
All right, take care. Have a good day. Bye.
All right, folks. That's the show. Quick super chats here for all the ballers who will be joining us in the Ballers Lounge on Friday. Thank you to the generosity of a few from today. Court Green, thank you for that. Already read that one. Lord Bibby says, oh yeah, I already read that one. Chris says, because everyone else was doing it. And C-Sal says, para la refri, Nico. We're filling up that refrigerator with drinkies and snackies for Friday's amazing show. You don't want to miss it. So many ballers. So, little time, or I don't know. Maybe we'll have plenty of time for the ballers on Friday. Appreciate that though, folks. That's the show. I gotta go. Enough out of me. I shall see y'all tomorrow. More American Anchor Baby, noon Pacific time. Manhood Hour on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. The Hake Report, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Joel Friday, 11 a.m. And the Anchor Baby at noon. Take care, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.